Despite the level of severity and transmissibility of COVID variants, observing the general health and safety guidelines and getting vaccinated will decide whether the country comes out of the pandemic or not. This is a fact that has been made very visible in many countries around the world. The plus in getting vaccinated is that if a country is able to ensure that 70% or more of the population is completely vaccinated with the 2-dose regime, restrictions could be eased and the country would have some control over the virus. What's more, vaccination will also reduce the burden on the country's health systems.
When you get vaccinated, you get a full course, and especially if you're someone who's got vulnerability or high risk for severe disease. The fact is, if you are vaccinated, and depending on the country you're in and the data that we've seen, but you're somewhere between 20 and 50 times less likely to be admitted to hospital if you've been vaccinated. And that goes up with age, it goes up in vulnerable groups. So the reality is the vast majority of people who are arriving in hospital are unvaccinated, and vaccinated people have so much more protection. So if you have a lot of unvaccinated people in your community and a wave of disease passes through, and like this Omicron wave, and even if each individual case may be on average less severe, the reality is with so many cases in the community and with a lot of people unvaccinated, it will generate a lot of admissions in a very short time. And that puts huge pressure on the system.
Speaking further, Executive Director of the Health Emergencies Program at the World Health Organization, Dr. Mike Ryan, explained what the WHO expectations are in the future in dealing with the virus.
We have to look at each country needs to have a path, not out of having cases of the virus, but a path out of this emergency, a path out of the acute phase of the pandemic. The virus is not going to go away. What can go away is the emergency. What can go away is the hospitalizations. What can go away is the deaths. What can go away is the restrictions. If we take a stepwise approach to that and do that in a careful manner and according to what's happening in any individual situation. So each government needs to look very carefully at where it is, where it's been, what capacities and capabilities it has now, and then how can it chart a safe path to end the emergency. And as we end the emergency in every country, then we can say that the global emergency is over. The virus will remain, the virus will continue to evolve and will probably settle down into a pattern. We're not quite sure what pattern that will be. We would hope of low-level transmission with potentially occasional epidemics. We don't know whether those epidemics will be seasonal, whether they'll be in high-risk groups. There's a lot to work out with that. The problem we have is that this virus is unpredictable. This virus, as it's proven, may give us some nasty surprises. So we need to be very, very careful to track the virus and track its evolution.
It is very well articulated that the virus could thrive only if it's left to do so. Without the spread, it cannot mutate.
The other thing we expect with variants is that there may be more immune escape, which means our countermeasures, our vaccines will be less effective. We don't want to be in that situation. So again, we want to make sure that we reduce the spread.